Sigur Ros drummer Ori Paul Darasan is accused of sexual assault. I'm really sorry to hear this. Now, of course, keep in mind, this is Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show, so I'm seeing this for the first time. So this is my first time hearing about this, and this article is from Paste Magazine. All right. Ori, we're just going to go with his first name. The drummer for Icelandic post-rock band Sigur Ros has been accused of sexual assault. Instagram user Yin Shadows, a.k.a. artist Megan Boyd, detailed an account of an assault at the hands of Darasan in the post. She claimed that Darasan assaulted her while she slept after the pair spent a night out together in 2013. Boyd claims that she did not share the story during the peak of the Me Too movement because it gave her extreme anxiety. Following Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's testimony about her alleged assault at the hands of Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, Boyd said she felt compelled to share her story. Boyd also shared screenshots of an email ostensibly sent by Darasan in which he denies the accusation, writing that he cannot understand why you would want to publicly accuse me of something I did not do. He claims that Boyd offered to drive him home from the club and that they had a nice night of drinking and drawing at his flat. Pace was not able to verify that Darasan engaged in the exchange posted an answer to Instagram. Excuse me. So here's the full statements here. And, right now I'm really sorry to hear this. And, of course, given the nature of this show, we kind of we're still watching things unfold. This is my first time hearing about this. This is my only point of reference to it. So, he's claiming he didn't do it. She's claiming he did. And I'm sure we're probably going to find out more. I like Sigur Ros. I'm a fan of their music. They're a very fascinating band for anybody that's not familiar with them. They're an incredibly fascinating band, and they're not really into giving interviews. There's actually a thing you can see on YouTube where it's an interview they did, I want to say with NPR, and it's like the funniest thing in the world because they just look completely clueless the whole time, and like they just really don't want to be there, and the interviewer is trying so hard and they're just not having it. And anyway, you got to watch it. It's pretty funny. But I guess we'll just see what happens with this. I don't want to rush to judgment one way or another because I do believe that you got to allow a due process to happen. And I'm not familiar with the drummer of Sigur Ros. I enjoy the band's music, but I've never seen them live. I'm not, super fluent in their catalog or anything like that. So it looks like, according to the article, this is the first time he's been accused of anything. But, she provided a very detailed account. So, I think we're kind of in that position where you're just kind of waiting to hear more. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very sorry to hear this. And, I guess we'll see that happen. Lucy's bummed out, too. Lucy's I don't know if you heard her meowing, but she digs Sigur Ros. She's a fan. She likes really conceptual proggy stuff. So she's very sorry to hear this. And that's where she's at. She's not a fan. She's not a fan of this news. Thank you for sharing that, Jordan. We'll continue to keep an eye on this and watch this unfold and see what happens. I don't want to like go through all the entire statements because it would take a long time to read. But basically, this woman provided a very, very detailed account, and that's something. I mean that's significant. She provides a very detailed account of what happened. And his account is different. And also, I'm seeing this. He has resigned from the band. So, and that's a little suspicious too. That he's resigning from the band. He got off Instagram. So that's a little suspicious too. That he would resign from the band. And to tie this into, the Kavanaugh thing, and I think Kavanaugh is guilty. I think that, and what I'm basing this off of is watching this unfold. And when he was asked directly if he did what they're accusing him of, he had every single tell that somebody can have. Every single one. He had them all, pretty much. They asked him directly. They were like, did you do this? And he said, no, I didn't. And he just started fumbling with a binder for no reason. Did you guys see that? Like, he took a binder. He's like, no, what's this binder for? I don't know. Maybe it's Mitt's binder and it's full of women. He just started, there could not have been more tells in this man's statement. And when you're asked a direct question and you babble on about your childhood for 40 minutes, you don't do that when you have nothing to hide. Let's be real here. And I mean, that whole thing was just such a disgusting circus. And he just kept going and going. Nobody stopped him. No one steered him back into talking about things of relevance. And, another thing that we all learned from that testimony about nothing is that man had the most boring childhood, maybe in the history of childhoods happening. It was incredibly boring. So I don't believe Brett Kavanaugh. I believe Dr. Ford. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that whole thing. But and you know what's weird for me? I think that when you're falsely accused of something, your response is not crying a bunch and ranting about calendars you and your dad kept. I think your response is anger. Now, my point of reference here is beyond minor in comparison. When I was in grade school, I was falsely accused of breaking a pencil that I didn't break. Someone else did it, and I was accused of it. My response was not sadness or tears or thinking about my dad's calendars or anything like that. My response was anger. I was pissed off. I was like, I didn't do this. And they're like, well, who did? And I was like, it wasn't frickin' me. It was not me. It's a lie. And I was mad. I was like, if we had the technology to do fingerprints, I'll do it because I didn't do this. And I kept insisting I didn't do it. And the teachers didn't believe me. I mean, looking back on it, like, they didn't believe me. But I didn't do it. And I know this is an incredibly minor example compared to what Brett Kavanaugh is accused of and what the drummer for Sigur Ros is accused of. But my point is that I think when somebody's falsely accused, the response is more anger. And the response is more like, I feel like he would say, yeah, let the FBI investigate. Let me take a polygraph. Let me do this. Let me do that. I feel like he would want to do everything in his power to prove his innocence. Meanwhile, he's wanting to do nothing. His witness doesn't remember anything. He likes beer. That's his big thing. He likes beer. He doesn't, she took a polygraph. She wants an investigation. He doesn't want any of those things. So, as far as the Sigur Ros thing, it's still kind of in its infancy. But, the fact that he resigned from the band's a little suspicious. But, I guess we'll see. And I'm very sorry to hear that to hear this news.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make